My bench press and my RDLs went great, but my squats, on the other hand, did not. And this is an issue that I've dealt with many times, including when I was on Smolov for that 1 week, and when I'm on squats on certain days on my previous programs. So when I was warming up, things felt okay, normal, right? But once I got to 225, it was either my knees or my hips or my lower back. My left knee felt a bit wonky, and I was just unable to get as much leg drive out of my squats, starting with 225. And 275 was okay. And then I did 305 for a single. That went slower than expected. And then this workout is 5 sets of 2 at 325. And my best was 330 for a set of 8. Or when I was on Greg Knuckles' 28 programs, I most recently did 3 times beginner squat program. And it was 330 that week for 4 in the AMRAP, which I got 7. So doing 5 sets of 2 felt harder than usual. Granted, when I do my reps on my squats, I tend to let my lower back take a ton of the beating and get more reps than I should. But it's just there's these days where it doesn't feel as good with my lower body. Like, it's unable to get past the first half of the motion as easily as other days. And I suspect it's a lot to do, with recovery. And I think maybe my tendon's not recovering enough. I don't have any issues recovering from deadlifts per se or bench at all. But with the squats, I think it's an issue with recovery. I'm interested in how the pause squats go for Friday's workout, which is my day 3. And now opening up the spreadsheet, my week 3, day 3 is 4 sets of 5, RP 9 for pause squats, probably at 295 or 300 pounds. I'm going to see how that goes and see if my recovery is back. If not, I'm still going to keep doing this program because I love this program for my bench and deadlift. But for squat, I have to, maybe look at it a different way and recover more by maybe eating a bit more. But I've been eating, over 3,000 calories on average for the past week, like 3,100. So I don't know what it is. And you saw that, right? That just looked a bit slower than usual, and it felt a lot slower. And I don't think it's my form. My form, like my setup, I think is pretty good. It could be also maybe my glutes not activated enough, but I don't think so, right? I just think it's a recovery issue. Like, today is Tuesday? I did this workout Monday, and I'm recording this on Tuesday, and I'm having a bit of left hip pain, which I think probably I should foam roll because I haven't done that in a while. And I think my squat's out of line a bit. This is what it feels like. I get pain in my left hip. My left knee is a little bit wonky. So I think I'll start foam rolling to try to fix that and recover better. It's hard to assess the effectiveness of the foam rolling, right? And you have to do it a lot to get some effects out of it, I think. So I'll try to do that more than I have been doing. So now you see my second set. I think went a little smoother. Usually my first squat set does go a bit slower than the second or third sets. And I think, especially if I don't get close to failure, which even though looks slower than usual, is still not at failure. But I think maybe I should warm up maybe maybe with the smaller jumps, maybe 135, maybe 185, and then 225, and then 275, and then 305 for 325 working set. And I want to say again that I think it has to do with recovery issue, and eating more will definitely help, because I know when I eat a lot, my squats feel good. Like when I actually eat, you know, 500 calories or more than my maintenance calories. And I think it has to do with recovery on the left side of my lower body. But these reps, I really had to grind out of the hole. I feel like I've tried unilateral leg movements like Bulgarian split squats and lunges for a time, and they didn't seem to help. So I really like Calgary barbell, where I'm working with weights that are not super intense, right? Because Bryce recommended that you put 95% of your 1 rep max into the program, and then the numbers are even lower in the actual program, right? Like for example, week 3 is 86% of my 95% of my 1 rep max. The couple days before the Monday workout, it was week 2 of day 4. I did I did 2 count pause deadlifts and dumbbell rows, which are and bench, right? But the deadlifts and the rows could affect my recovery, but I don't think they do. Or I think the deadlifts maybe made my left side more wonky, and then maybe I pull something or something like that. So we'll see. My bench press, on the other hand, went great, which you will see in a bit very soon. So the working sets were 5 sets of doubles at also 86%. So it's the same rep scheme with the squat and bench. So comp pause bench at 240 pounds. I think I put the 1 rep, the training max, a bit too high on this program, because I realized that Bryce recommended you put 95% of your 1 rep max, and I realized that after I started this program. So my training max is actually 280 on here, and I cannot do 280 pause for 1 rep max. Probably 265, 270. So the numbers ended up being heavier, but for 240, for 5 sets of doubles, honestly, I didn't go over, honestly, RP9 for sure. Maybe even 8.5 on the last set. I think what helped was 2 things. I think the amount of food I've eaten, which responds even better for me with bench. I think if I don't eat enough, my bench suffers. But if I eat maintenance, especially more than maintenance, even a couple hundred calories over maintenance, which I am eating that much, my bench feels great. The other reason is actually pausing most of my reps in this program, whether it's the comp pause bench or the 2 count pause. As you can see, my first set went great, and I think even my second set went even a little better. You see, that did go a little better, and the background is me watching Markiplier, playing a scary game, so don't mind that. But yeah, this is the third set. Yeah, the first rep, you saw my left hand pause a little bit. That's because I hit the J hooks. But yeah, I think I can confidently say I'll be able to hit a smooth RP9 pause rep 270 by the end of this program. And my goal is to hit that even more, right? Because looking at this program, week 8, the goal is and week 7. So week 7 and week 8, it's 1 rep for 1 set at RP9. These couple sets at 200 pounds for 2 sets of 4 also went very well. And now at this point, I honestly don't even need music to pump me up anymore for working out. I think because the weights are, not super heavy, and when they're not super heavy, and you're not going for a set to failure. I don't really need much music or anything to pump me up. And I think that's a good thing, right? To keep the reps and sets consistent. And if I were to compete again, then there's no music when you're doing the rep, right? You're in front of a crowd. So I think I'm trying to simulate that more, especially because I'm doing also, comp pause bench. One other thing I want to talk about, or two more things, but the first thing is these RDLs, like I said earlier, went great. And what happened here, I think, instead of feeling it in my hamstrings as much, I've been feeling it in my glutes. So what happens with these RDLs is if I don't do them for a while, and I start doing them again, I feel a big stretch in my hamstrings. But now, as I've been doing them more and more with hip thrusts, I've been feeling a big activation in my glutes when I'm at near the bottom of the rep. And that's great, right? I've always been looking for an exercise besides hip thrusts that really work on my glutes. And in terms of the glutes working and helping in my squat, then I think it's been helping. Maybe it has. For deadlifts, it definitely has been, right? And I think these RDOs are how do you say it? Cost saving deadlifts, right? Like the deadlifts that you get at a bargain market that gives you the same value. They might not be the exact same deadlifts that you're competing in or that's your main lift, but it has the same effect, right? So here I am doing some barbell curls with 60 pounds and some face pulls that you'll see after. So this is the second set for both exercises. The first set I did not record. But yeah, I linked the bicep curl video, I think in my last video or the video before, where I showed where the videos showed that you lean forward a bit and you keep the range of motion short to really focus on the mind muscle connection. But I don't think these work that well because one arm of mine is stronger than the other one, so I feel kind of awkward. So I'm going to go back to dumbbell curls. But these face pulls are great, right? I don't usually feel the burn in my rear delts when in face pulls unless I've done a lot of bench sets, and today was the case. And I think these are a stable exercise in terms of kind of balancing the push volume with pull volume and keeping your shoulders healthy. And I do these for usually 4 sets, the curls and the face pulls. I think one thing I would like to talk about are the bicep curls. I think no matter what type of curl you do, I think varying it up with the rep schemes, with the type of curl you're doing, like dumbbell hammer curls, right? The dumbbell 21s, crazy 8s, barbell curls, easy bar curls, however you do it, varying things up is important. But I think frequency, no matter who you are, is key to success. I think if you curl once a week, you're not gonna get as much progress in your arms and how much weight you curl compared to curling 3 or 4 times a week, right? And what's worked for me the best is curling through drop sets. So when I started doing this way of curling, I started at I was able to curl 25 pounds for 4 sets of 12, and then I ended up being able to curl 30 pounds for 4 sets of 12, if not more, right? Over after a month. And before that, my curls have always been stuck around the 25-pound range. So what's worked for me was pick a weight where you can do 10 to 15 reps with. So for one set, right? So that would be 25 pounds for me. I could do probably 20 reps for one set, but I picked 25 pounds. And then I went from 25, and then I did as many as I could. And then with no rest, I went to 20 and did as many as I could. And then no rest, 15, as many as I could, and then 10 pounds. And then I think I did 5 pounds as well. And then after a few weeks, I was able to do 35 pounds for like 15 reps. And then I went there, and then I went to 35, and then 25, and then 20, 15, 10. I think 30, from 35 to 30 would didn't work for me because I would be able to only do like 4 reps of 30 pounds. Doing it this way not only helped my curls, my arm size, I haven't measured it, but it's a little bit bigger, I think. But also my chin-ups and my pull-ups also have gone up, especially my chin-ups. So before I could do like 4 reps and then 3, 3, 2, 2 on like any given day. Now I can do 6, 4, 4, 4, 4, or 6, 4, 3, 3, 3, or like 6, 5, 4, 3, 3 on any given day, like depending on how I feel, right? I can definitely get 6 reps in, like, so 2 more reps on the chin up, which is huge for me. And I gained like 2 pounds in the past like 4 to 5 months, right? So that's really great progress. I haven't been doing that way of curling recently, like in the past month. I've moved on to straight doing like 4 sets of 8 to 12, but I might go back to that. It is a bit intense to do AMRAP after AMRAP, and I'm more of a compound exercise person. Like, even though squats and deadlifts are more um fatiguing on the overall full body, those don't fatigue me as much in the moment compared to curls, if that makes sense. Like, the burn that you get from curls, I just don't like that as much compared to the feeling I get from heavy squats or deadlifts. But maybe that's just me. I'm not into bodybuilding at all. Anyways, I'm so happy to be putting these videos together, even though not many people are watching. If I help one person, that's all it matters. So thank you for watching. I really appreciate all the support for simply watching my video. And thank y'all again. I'll see y'all next time. Peace.